halftime. Few quarterbacks have catch Joe Rod in the vicinity.
John to be back on the sidelines for at least another game. The Hamilton Ticats preparing to receive. Troy Westwood kicks it off. Burridge comes up the sidelines and then is bounced out of bounds at about the 46-yard line. A 53-yard kickoff into 19-yard return. Bob Torrance, 25 years of age, played at the University of Calgary, compiled some very impressive numbers, getting his second start at quarterback. When he played against Edmonton on Wednesday night as the starting quarterback for the Ticats, the first time since 1987 that a Canadian had started a game at quarterback in the CFL. Deflected at the line of scrimmage. I think Kelly Rush may have got a hand on it. It was intended for Perkins. Bob Torrance is the man at quarterback, and these are the players he will be working with. Pernell Burbidge and Earl Winfield, the wideouts, Mazzoli and Joey Yock inside. And Peter Giftopoulos continues to show improvement in making the conversion from linebacker to offensive tackle. On second down, out of the shotgun. The Bombers trying to get some pressure up the middle. The pass was intended for Burbidge, and it was knocked down by Donald Smith. So it's 2 and out for the Hamilton Ticats.
Disappointing start for him to begin with. I think it was very critical to come out there and try to establish some type of ability to keep the ball in their possession. Torrance, again, he's going to get a lot of pressure come up front. That Winnipeg defense knows for a fact he's not that mobile, so they don't have to rush him hard off the corners. Just contain him up front, get their hands up, because he's going to take those short drops and try to release it quickly.
Paul Osbaldiston stands back at his own 31-yard line for this third down punt back in 1986. He played 5 games with Winnipeg before going to Hamilton. Alan Boyko takes the kick at the 25-yard line and brings it back to the 38, and that's where Winnipeg will scrimmage 1st and 10. A 40-yard punt and a 13-yard run back. Matt Dunnigan having a most impressive season. He is averaging 2 touchdown passes per game, and at this pace, Dunnigan will easily beat his previous best in the CFL, 27 touchdown passes with BC in 1989. 1st and 10 Winnipeg. The ball is at the Bomber 39. Dunnigan has Boyko wide open for a first down at the 51. Dunnigan, according to Coach Cal Murphy, is having an outstanding season. David Williams has been reunited with Dunnigan. They were teammates, of course, in BC and in Toronto, and Williams is the Bombers' leading pass receiver. Pretty solid offensive line as well, James.
Well, a big bunch of guys up front who had an outstanding game last week in Sacramento, not allowing a sack at all during the contest.
Dunnigan finds Gerald Alphin open on the sidelines. A penalty flag on the play. This might be a late hit as Alphin was bounced out of bounds after he had stepped out of bounds. Jake Ireland is the referee.
A little extra aggression on that play by Bobby Dawson right at the end as he had crossed over the sideline. Those are plays like that that has hurt Hamilton.
Major foul,
losing
unnecessary roughness. Hamilton, number 27. First down.
Bobby Dawson back in the lineup of the Hamilton Ticats. Up front, Cofield and Bailey at the ends, Andrews and Hart inside. John Moten is the man in the middle. Michael O'Shea is having an outstanding rookie season, and these are the defensive backs trying to control Matt Dunnigan, who so far has been finding his targets with ease. He's got Bellamy for his 3rd straight completion. He takes it out of bounds at the 31.
Well, Bellamy that time just driving off the defensive back on that play, coming off. Matt Dunnigan is systematically working down the field. He's not trying to get a lot all in one shot. You'll see him with a little half roll to the left, sets up right behind his pulling lineman, fires it out to Bellamy, who has a nice little cushion on the defensive back and picks up 7 yards on the play.
See a good look there. Just absolutely no pressure on Matt Dunnigan, and he's got full vision downfield to be able to throw the ball on the money.
Movement at the line of scrimmage. The handoff to Richardson. It was a year ago that Richardson made his CFL debut against the Hamilton Ticats and ran for 197 yards. And then he absolutely destroyed them in the playoff game, 227 more.
Excited to get back in the line. And obviously last week he had an excellent game, 116 yards against Sacramento. A lot of that yardage came late in the game when the game was really out of control for Sacramento. But now he really wants to, he's back at home, back in front of his crowd right here, and he wants to establish himself and show his wares.
From the 23, 1st and 10, Dunnigan from the shotgun. Pressure from the backside. He lobs it up, intercepted by Dawson. It was intended for Williams, and Dawson is down at the 9-yard line. 11:44 remaining in a still scoreless opening quarter. Welcome back to Winnipeg Stadium, where the Ticats snuffed out a Winnipeg drive with a Bobby Dawson interception.
Bobby Dawson standing right here in the middle of your screen. It's just going to be a sprint out over here. David Williams is going to come on a hard post. At this point, then Matt Dunnigan, all he does is lob the ball up. I think there was some miscommunication between David Williams and Matt Dunnigan on that pass pattern.
Well, a big break for the Tiger Cats there, because Matt was just moving the ball down the field at will. And as you said, Dan, seemed like miscommunication. Matt was expecting to go in and up, and David just stayed to the inside, and Bobby Dawson was right there for the float and picked it off with an easy interception.
Dawson on the telephone talking to the coaching staff upstairs. Second and 6, Hamilton. The ball is at the 13-yard line. Torrance quickly inside for Mazzoli. And Mazzoli is going to be stopped a couple of yards shy of a first down, it would appear. Mazzoli has had some injury problems this year, and early in the season they definitely missed his pass-catching abilities. Defensively, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a young man playing at a defensive end position by the name of Kelly Rush, alongside the veteran Stan Mikowicz, but they feel that Rush has the talent to be an awfully good one in the CFL. Del Lyles is in at a linebacking position, starting for the first time this year. He's replacing Corian Freeman. Third down punt by Osbaldiston. And no chance for a run back by Boyko as it goes out of bounds just across the midfield stripe.
Getting back to Kelly Rush a little bit yesterday when we were talking with Coach Murphy, in a sense, he had expectations that this guy could be as dominant a force in this league as we have seen in a number of years. Really high hopes. Had some problems down in Sacramento getting thrown out of a ball game. So obviously he's just got to work on him. He's young. He's enthusiastic. He has a lot of energy in there. And a matter of now, we got to work on his discipline, Coach Murphy said. Keep him in the ball game. As long as we keep him in the ball game, we got a chance to do something defensively.
You can relate to that.
Well, he should be well rested after last week's game, put it that way.
Bellamy makes the catch, and then he's caught almost immediately by Wright. It's a pickup of just a couple of yards.
Wright has given Bellamy a lot of move over there in that left halfback position. He is backing off the ball. Bellamy is driving off the ball nice and hard. He's giving it a look that he's going deep, and Wright is having to come up after he's broke off the pattern after about 5 yards and picking up the gain right in front of it and putting Winnipeg in a second and medium situation.
Bellamy getting an opportunity to play with the injury to Nathaniel Bolton. Dunnigan fakes, drills it in there to Boyko for a first down at the 36-yard line. Dunnigan is getting awfully good protection so far in the ball game. The Ticats not yet pressuring the Winnipeg quarterback.
The offensive line for Winnipeg has been doing a marvelous job thus far in the season. You'll see Big Chris Walby right there, which is a formidable wall in front of any defensive lineman. And Matt Dunnigan has been healthy, which has been the mainstay of this Winnipeg offense as the season has progressed along.
Boyko playing a wide-out position. He and Bellamy might alternate, with Boyko going back inside, Bellamy wide out. Deep for Alphen. Incomplete. Double coverage as Todd Wiseman, the safety, had come over to help out Ricky Royal.
Excellent job that time as far as covering underneath, taking the throw away from it immediately, and then Wise coming over top. But as James alluded to earlier, this offensive line is working tremendously together, and it's buying Matt Dunnigan a lot of time. Defensively, Hamilton, if they're not able to get the pressure on, the pressure then reverts to the back end, where that defensive secondary has to play incredible zone and man coverage.
Andrews and Cofield, they're going to need more pressure from their two outside guys to keep Matt Dunnigan within the pocket. Otherwise, it's going to be a long night.
2nd and 10, and Dunnigan gets away from Andrews, and he'll have a first down. Nice bit of fancy stepping by the Winnipeg quarterback when it looked as though Romel Andrews had a shot at him.
Great pressure from the corner by Romel Andrews as he was coming around working on Chris Walby, the right offensive tackle, getting the pocket squeezed down. Andrews comes back underneath. Matt Dunnigan steps up and is able to elude him with some fancy footwork and able to weave his way upfield and pick up enough yardage to gain the first down to the 25.
Collectively, that defense has to work. As you get that pressure rushing up the field, those inside tackles have to stay in their lane and be able to know that that force and push is going to come up the middle. They've got to make the tackle.
Bellamy makes another catch about a yard short of a first down, and he's brought down by Kelson.
Well, the offensive line, Winnipeg is pulling out O'Neal, getting him out on the corner, picking up the defensive end, and they have no problem getting around Matt Dunnigan. Has a clear vision of the field and is able to see his receivers as he gets to the corner.
Johnstone on 2nd and a yard, and he had to get to the 15, and it appears as though he has succeeded.
And if he did, it was all on second effort because he got stroked the minute that he took the handoff from Matt Dunnigan.
Well, apparently it's close enough for referee Jake Ireland to request a measurement. I don't think there's much doubt, though, if they don't have it, they'll be going after it on 3rd down, and that is the situation. The Bombers about a foot shy of a first down.
Well, 3rd and inches is almost a given situation when you have your defensive line have to give a yard at the line of scrimmage. This is those situations where Matt Dunnigan comes with that quarterback's keeper, and you have to make sure you get him on the ground because he's powerful enough to go for a long distance.
Dunnigan will keep. He'll get the first down. Winnipeg has had tremendous success this year once they've been inside the opposition 25-yard line.
I think that's one of the cases that is very good for Winnipeg, and again, not that good for Hamilton. Hamilton has been very unsuccessful with their drives as far as once they got inside the 25-yard line of being able to complete the drives and coming away with any points. Winnipeg, conversely, on the other hand, has come away with a lot of points once they get inside that red zone. They know how to complete and finish the drive.
Mike Kelly works very closely with the quarterback, Matt Dunnigan. The pass intended for Gerald Alphen, and it was knocked away by Bobby Dawson.
Well, you got Gerald Alphen coming running an up-and-out route, just driving off the defensive back. Bobby Dawson with great footwork that time, staying with Alphen and diving at the last moment right in front to bring that down. Had both hands on it, almost picked it off.
You take right at the end, as soon as Alphen made that cut, he squared it off just a little bit, enough that allowed Bobby Dawson to make up some ground and be able to get in front. Had he broke it back and came back toward the sideline, brought that pattern back toward Matt Dunnigan just a little bit, it would have created enough cushion and void between them where they may have completed it.
In the end zone this time, and Alphen hauls it in front of Todd Wiseman. Well, Gerald Alphen, after starring for a number of years with the Ottawa Rough Riders and then heading to the NFL, came back to the Blue Bombers, and he admitted that he had some difficulties, some problems readjusting to the CFL game.
Well, the speed of the game once you've left the game and gone down to the States, but Gerald Alphen that time had no problem lining up in the right slot. Matt Dunnigan with all day. That offensive line, as we spoke about, Dan, has done a marvelous job in protection of him. Touchdown as a result of it.
You and I may have a good opportunity of completing the pass if we had that offensive line in front of us, James.
Not with them fingers you got.
The point after by Troy Westwood. Will be back with capping a Blue Bomber drive of 55 yards by hauling in the 14-yard touchdown toss from Matt Dunnigan. The 17th of the year for Matt Dunnigan.
Well, Matt Dunnigan sitting in the pocket, as we stated earlier, with plenty of time, just looking over the field, surveying all of his receiving core, and he finds Alphen in the back of the end zone for the touchdown in front of Wiseman. Not a good sign for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. In the last 5 games that they've been on the skids, they've allowed the opponent to score first, and they have not been able to recover from that.
Not only have they allowed the opponent to score first, but the opposition has scored often.
Often.
They've given up 200 points in the last 5 games while scoring just 51 themselves.
And you have to score more than 10 points a game to win in the CFL.
Winfield takes it at the 10-yard line. And Winfield goes down at the 31. 21-yard run back. Scott?
Don, the Ticats are loath to relate their skid to the start of the team's financial crisis, but the fact remains players are surrounded by stories of the shaky ground the franchise is on. And John Gregory told us yesterday that regrettably the crisis, and specifically the issue of whether they'll keep getting paid, is the #1 topic of conversation every day among the players. Word today is the Cats will keep getting paid because of a $300,000 cash infusion, $100,000 of TV money from the league, $100,000 from a Hamilton businessman, and $100 more from Stampeders owner Larry Rickman, who apparently has agreed to meet the Ticats payroll for the rest of the season. We'll get clarification on all of that on Live at the Half when Larry Rickman joins us from Calgary.
Well, I'm sure John Gregory and all of the Ticats will be pleased to hear that there may be some relief to the financial problems that have plagued the team. As Gregory said, it's the #1 topic of conversation every time someone enters the Hamilton Ticat dressing room. An offside call against Winnipeg on the kickoff will force the Blue Bombers to kick over again, this time from 5 yards further back. Winfield will take it again, this time at the 25, looking for some blocking help wide. And the Ticats improve their field position as they bring it back to the 52, a 28-yard return.
Well, Winfield picks it up, as you can see, as he's coming up the field. He picks up his wall going out towards the right sideline, and Rogers misses him there. One of the leaders on Winnipeg's specialty team, but Winfield gets an excellent return on the second try, making Winnipeg kick off again. And generally, those cover guys are just a little bit tired on that second run down the field.
Torrance from the 54, 1st and 10. Fakes inside to Perkins. Looks to the sidelines for Mazzoli. It was deflected by Payton. A couple of weeks ago, Payton was guaranteeing a Winnipeg victory over the undefeated Calgary Stampeders. It didn't materialize, but he's a talkative individual, and he also plays pretty well.
Well, he walks the talk, and that's all they got to do. He doesn't let his mouth write a check that his body can't cash in there. He gets up there. He's a mismatch with Bushy. He's been having a great job of being able to excel and use his speed, getting that outside rush, getting a number of sacks, and also, as you say, getting right up in the face of quarterbacks.
Winfield is a good man to go to on 2nd and long, obviously, as Torrance hits Winfield for a first down, but he took a shot in the middle of his back, and he's in pain.
Well, Phillips and Randolph was right there at the end of that. You'll see Torrance dropping back in the pocket, and he's looking at Winfield all the way he needs.
They make them pay. It's intimidation type style of defense.
Richard Nurse into the ball game. Torrance flushed out of the pocket, throws down the sidelines. It was intended for Burbage, but Burbage had gone out of bounds and then came back onto the field to play. I think he was protesting, claiming that he was bounced out of bounds as he tried to run his pattern down the sidelines.
And Torrance is getting somewhat of a baptism tonight. These Winnipeg linebackers are all over him. That time, Lyles being inserted into the lineup tonight, driving him to the turf. It's going to be a long night for him. He's going to have to learn to get rid of the ball just a little bit quicker.
4:20 remaining in the opening quarter. 7-0. Winnipeg leads at 2nd and 10. Hamilton. Torrance throwing for Mazzoli. And two players, Bobby Evans and Mazzoli, collide with the cart on the sidelines, and Evans, fortunately, is going to get up and be able to walk off. That cart is padded, and those pads certainly prevented what could have been a serious injury.
Well, you know, you get a bird's eye shot of that right there. Evans is just playing the ball, both the receiver and the defensive back. The cart, they had no awareness of it, but just lucky enough, he's able to bounce right back off of that.
Getting back a little bit to this Hamilton offense, it's important right now that any time that Torrance is standing back in that pocket and lining up to throw the ball every time, that Winnipeg defense knows and they're going to pin their ears and come after him. There's a point that he needs to use that Perkins in the backfield and establish some type of a running game to at least try to get that defense to slow down at one step or two.
Well, there was confusion there on the part of the Bombers. They only had 11 men in the field as Baldiston kicks for a single point with 3:49 left in the quarter. were humiliated at home 40-11 by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and they haven't won since. Cofield was coming from the backside, but Dunnigan got it away to Richardson, and he'll pick up about 4 yards.
Very important, as you say, they let Cofield run free on the backside, but as the sprint was heading out to the wide side of the field, the left side, it's very important for David Bailey, that defensive end, as James alluded to earlier, get upfield, get containment, and try to make Matt Dunnigan pull up. That would allow a guy like Cofield or the linebackers coming from the inside an opportunity to take a shot at him.
John Bonk, a former member of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the offensive line coach of the Hamilton Ticats. Dunnigan on second down, throwing for Boyko, and Boyko was well covered by Eaglin. So it's 2 and out for Winnipeg. 3:15 remaining in the opening quarter.
Well, that offensive line of Winnipeg, you just haven't been able to speak about it enough. The Walby and Gurrell at tackles, and you get a shot of Walby right here blocking on Cofield. And Bailey, the defensive end, doing a tremendous job. Matt Dunnigan not feeling any pressure, able to get that ball off on time.
First punt of the ball game for veteran Bob Cameron. He added up the total length of all of his punts. They stretched for something like 46 miles. Burbage takes the punt back at the 34-yard line.
Out of the season, and the CFL spilling onto the field to celebrate the victory.
They were really jammed in at Taylor Field. 33,000 plus in Taylor Field is being very close to your friends. Scott?
Well, Don, also last night in Calgary, the Stampeders remained perfect. Doug Flutie threw a couple at the half, came back to make it interesting, but the Stamps are 9-0 and running away with the West.
2nd and 2, and it looks as though they should get the first down. It'll be very close.
Well, it's very important that Torrance gets something going for his offense here late as the first quarter starts to wind down. He is not feeling that comfortable. You can see when he's throwing the football, he has quite a bit of foot movement in the pocket. He has to trust his offensive line in front of him.
They come back in time now. Again, all about him, can catch the ball well out of the backfield. And again, you have to make that defense to respect something that you're going to do inside, and hopefully that'll buy him just an extra step or two or a second or two to be able to throw the ball, maybe make a completion.
Well, if he can repeat the performance he had last week in Edmonton, it's going to draw those linebackers a little closer for the underneath routes with the inside receivers.
1st and 10 from the shotgun. Deep for Mazzoli. He can't catch up with it as he was in a foot race with Bobby Evans. You know, we saw the highlight of the Calgary Stampeders' victory over the BC Lions last night. 9-0 now for Wally Buono's team. Any possibility that they could go undefeated?
I think when we did the Ottawa game with Calgary down there, Coach Buono had the great line, we can go to undefeated if we win this game. And I think it's a great attitude. They have to take it that one game at a time. It does sound like a cliche, but that's what works. They can only go undefeated if they win the game that they're in that day.
Burbage was the man that Torrance was looking for. He was being covered by Donald Smith. Back at the line of scrimmage, some additional pushing and shoving after the whistle had gone, but there are no flags and nothing serious is going to develop.
Well, Peter Gutoflis and Kelly Rush. Kelly Rush is being a little frustrated. He had the little short game last week in Sacramento, so he has a little bit of extra energy, and they've been doing a tremendous job on him so far tonight, and you'll see Peter Gutoflis coming in there from the side, and Kelly Rush didn't take too good of a liking to that.
Gutopoulos making the conversion from linebacker to offensive tackle. He's used to delivering some of the hits.
I had thoughts of doing that at one time in my career.
With your speed, you could have.
Boyko takes the 3rd down punt and brings it back to the 16-yard line.
Big matchup. People are already packing in Edmonton. I'm going to know they head down to the Calgary down Highway 2 for a big rematch of a game that they're looking forward to.
Well, after that matchup last night in Saskatchewan, you're going to expect the fans to fill Taylor Field once again to over capacity flow, and it should be another excellent outing next weekend.
Winnipeg and Saskatchewan in a home-and-home series next weekend, and 2 weeks from now. Richardson got to the 20-yard line and then was straightened up. That's a pickup of about 4 yards. He missed the first 7 games of the 1992 season before starting against Hamilton on the 27th of August last year. And as I mentioned, he ran for 197 yards and went on to lead the CFL in rushing last year.
Wright doing an excellent job of making a transition from a true defensive back up to one of those outside linebackers. And again, he's being very involved in this defense. He's leading the team with 37 tackles.
Dunnigan's pass was intended for Boyko. It's incomplete. And that is also occupies 225 consecutive games tonight. And he has indicated that this isn't going to be his last year in the CFL either. And the way he's punting, I don't think anyone in the Bomber organization has any thoughts about asking Bob to pack it in either.
The way he's punting and the way that Matt Dunnigan runs this offense, he doesn't get a chance to go out there very often. He may be able to play another 15 or 16 years.
You may be stretching things a little there, Dan, but there's no doubt that he can play another season, I'm sure. Earl Winfield bounces away from a couple of people. There are penalty flags in the play. Winfield ran into his blocker, Burbage, got a little tangled up, and then was brought down by Dwayne Ford. But there is a penalty flag back at the 47-yard line.
Had a couple of Blue Bombers in that no-yard zone, and this play looks like it's going to stand.
No yards. Winnipeg number 30. 5-yard penalty on bounce. Decline. First down.
Excellent return by Winfield. That's what he brings to this Ticat team, a 41-yard return on that play. And, you know, Winfield looks at the ball, picks up his blocking, picks it up, comes back around to the right side, makes that first guy miss, and that's what you must always do. And then he picks up his wall, coming around the right corner, getting on the sideline and able to turn it upfield, and then he's off to the races, and he gets down inside the 20-yard line.
First and 10, Hamilton from the 19. Perkins caught from behind by Stan Mikowicz and hauled down at the 15-yard line. Winnipeg leading by a score of 7-1, but the Hamilton Ticats in excellent position right now. Statistically, the Bombers in the opening quarter had the edge. They had a couple of early drives engineered by Matt Dunnigan, one of them resulting in the touchdown toss to Gerald Alphin. Another drive snuffed out by the lone turnover of the game, the interception by Bobby Dawson.
You don't see a lot on there, and I think that's to the advantage of the Hamilton Ticats. As long as the stats are fairly equal, that's why they're 7-1 into this game right now.
Torrance throws to the corner. Touchdown, or is it? They're ruling that he had possession. The ball came free, but Burbage is credited with the touchdown.
One of the things, again, Torrance stands back there, little 3-step drop, lays the ball out and let Burbage run underneath it. Bobby Evans does a good job of coverage, makes the catch, and then he's able to cradle it, get his body between he and Bobby Evans, and right at the last minute goes up high, brings the ball in. It comes out after the end, but it's after the touchdown's made.
So very quickly, with Winfield producing a 41-yard punt return, Torrance hits Burbage for the major score that puts the Hamilton Ticats out in front by a margin of 8-7.
Well, that's what Bobby Torrance needed at quarterback, to be able to get that confidence. His offensive line did a tremendous job of holding the pocket. He didn't feel the pressure up the middle. Winnipeg came with the blitz. They were able to ward it off. He was able to find Burbage on an out route, and Burbage had gotten a separation from the defensive back. You'll see Torrance here. He's sitting in the pocket. They're not panicking, and that's the key. Got maybe a little bit too much air under the ball. He's going to have to get it more over the line to get it out to his receivers on a consistent basis, because you'll see some of those defensive backs take some chances as the game goes on.
I think Torrance may be asking Burbage for the football because that's his first ever CFL touchdown pass.
Burbage probably feeling the same way about it.
We may see one heck of a fight.
But it's good to see that Hamilton could take the ball down the field and get it into the end zone. They've had some problems, only scoring an average of 10 points in their last 5 games.
And in the first quarter, the Hamilton Ticats have given up 85 points this year. It's been their worst quarter by far. So giving up just 7 in the opening quarter here at Winnipeg Stadium, I think John Gregor would be rather pleased. And Donald Smith on the kickoff return, he stopped at the 34 by John Moten.
And only scoring 31 points in that time, Don, to counteract that. So that's not a lot of offensive productivity, and that's not going to keep you in a lot of games.
Back home in Cowtown.
Pretty happy down there, back home in Cowtown, if you couldn't hear him. It's the kind of thing that has got to be very exciting and enthusiastic for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but also the Winnipeg Blue Bombers can't get, lulled to sleep with this team right here. They have to come out and play with the same intensity that they played in the previous games, or else this team will come up and snake bite them.
Bellamy was the man that Dunnigan was looking for. Bobby Dawson was defending against him. Bellamy looked to see if there was any red nylon on the artificial turf at Winnipeg Stadium, but no penalty flag.
Well, Bellamy was running a seam route that time, straight up the field. Matt Dunnigan doing a half roll out to his left. Bellamy had a step on Dawson, but it seemed like they might have nudged shoulders just at the last moment there and knocked Bellamy off stride.
One of the things that Matt has done extremely well as a quarterback is when he forces that corner and he does that half roll out and sets up behind the tackle like he's going to sprint to the wide side, tries to look the safety off, and then comes back to the seam on the backside.
Dunnigan was looking, I think, for Williams, and there may have been some mix-up in the read because Williams was not looking back towards the quarterback.
Well, Matt had read the hot on that particular play. He saw coverage from his defense, and he's looking real quick on a two-step drop, trying to get the ball out, but also the route was read by the defensive back, who was able to step up and bump Williams right before he was able to make his move inside.
Cameron stands at his own 20-yard line for this third down punt. 8-7. Hamilton leading Winnipeg with 12:16 remaining in the first half. Excellent kick by Cameron. Mazzoli takes it at the 25, and he won't get any further than the 30-yard line. A 51-yard punt, a 4-yard Sports Channel 7 with 12:02 remaining in the half. I'm Don Whitman along with James Curry, Dan Kepley, and Scott Oak, and we hope you're enjoying the action wherever you're looking in. Bob Torrance, first and 10 from the 25-yard line, out of the shotgun, inside handoff to Perkins, and Perkins is going to be stopped for a loss of about 4.
Trying to run a draw play right there. Just no success at all. Winnipeg didn't buy it. They had a good push up the middle where they were trying to get the seam, and Perkins was met in the backfield by Rush and Lewis and brought down for a loss of 3 on the play.
I thought Cal Murphy had a very interesting comment about Kelly Rush. I said, how good is he? He said, as good as he wants to let himself be.
And that is the key. You have to be in the game for 60 minutes mentally, Don.
Again, out of the shotgun. The pass was deflected on the sidelines. Bobby Evans got a hand on it. Burbage was the man that Torrance was looking for. Again, seemed to get a little air under that throw.
The key to it, if you look at his footwork, Bob Torrance in the pocket, he is not steady. He is moving his feet around, and you have to be planted to get that drive on the football to come over the top, and that's why his passes have been floating thus far here in the first half.
The other situation for Bob Torrance, I think, is very crucial that he comes out there and at least is able to establish something on the 1st and 10 and pick up 4 or 5 yards. He's got himself into 2nd and 10, 2nd and extra long situation, and that allows that Winnipeg defense to come after him or play a real soft zone behind it.
Alan Boyko took Paul Osbaldiston's punt on the dead run and returned it to the 44-yard line. Stopped there by Jim York. A 33-yard kick, a 9-yard return.
This is the battle that Hamilton must win today, as a specialty team battle. They cannot exchange field position like this with Winnipeg, allowing Matt Dunnigan to start an offensive possession on the plus side of the 55-yard line.
Not only would Matt Dunnigan establish a personal high for touchdown passes in the season, but he would also go past Tom Clements in the Winnipeg Blue Bomber record book, and Mike Richardson runs it all the way to the Hamilton 23-yard line. Stopped there by Ricky Royal.
A search play is what they like to call it, coming off the tackle. But here's where the great vision of Michael Richardson and the quick feet happen. Sees the hole is blocked up. He's getting behind David Black, but then he cuts it all the way back across the green and eludes a few tackles and able to pick up the big first down.
Winnipeg 1st and 10. The ball is at the 23. Richardson again. This time Moulton stops the outstanding rookie of last season after a pickup of maybe 3 yards.
Well, they feel that right now they can pound it out on the ground. They came with the search play on the first down. Second time they come back with the counter trap, pulling big Miles Gurrell around from his left offensive tackle position, picking up a good gain on the play.
You know, last year there were people who were questioning the decision of the Blue Bombers to insert Richardson into the lineup in place of Robert Mims. Williams makes the catch on the sidelines. Big first down at the 5.
David Williams starting off where he left off last week in Sacramento. That's two veteran players knowing each other, Matt Dunnigan to David Williams. David Williams saw that ball out of the corner of his eye, being a little bit behind him, able to cut off his route just a little bit short, leap into the air, and one of the greatest things he does as a receiver, he uses his hands to catch the football.
Even better than that, knowing that the ball's thrown behind, talking to Matt Dunnigan is a bit of a called play.
Richardson fighting for the end zone. He won't get there. He stopped at about the 2-yard line. You know, further to the Richardson story, he replaced Robert Mims, the leading rusher the previous 2 years. At the start of this year, Blaze Bryant was the Bomber running back to start the year. And people, again, questioning the decision. Richardson for Mims, then Blaze Bryant for Richardson.
Winnipeg, throughout the past decade, has had a wealth of running backs, so Don. So whoever they've brought in has gotten the job done.
Richardson gets the job done. He puts it in the end zone as Winnipeg moves into a 13-8 lead.
Michael Richardson running behind Chris Walby. Hard to find a running back running behind that side of a building or whatever you want to call it over there. And Chris just sealed down that left side of the defensive line of Hamilton, and Michael Richardson was able to walk across the goal line.
One of the key blocks there is Chris Johnstone, who came with a trade from Toronto with Warren Hudson, getting a good block on the corner. But as you mentioned, Chris Walby, he's 6'7", 305.
When?
In the book, he said. Well, maybe like 2 weeks after birth, he was 305. He did happen to mention the last time he was 305, he was wearing a diaper. But he's a big man. He's a powerful man. And again, they like...
Hey, Don, today have moved out of the crisis situation. And what a great role model Jack Jacobs is for all the people here tonight for the salute to the First Nations.
Absolutely, Scott. Not only did Jack Jacobs play quarterback, he also played defensive back during his time in the Canadian Football League with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and he was an outstanding golfer. You can relate to that.
Well, I was just going to add, how much money did you take off of him, though, Whit?
Never got a chance to play with Indian Jack Jacobs, but he was an outstanding golfer in addition to his multi-skills on a football field.
Very important for Bob Torrance to come out and realize that you're still going to have to give what this defense will give you. And it won't be very much. It certainly won't be the big hit and the big bomb again. Be patient, work it out. Make sure you get some yardage on the 1st and 10 mark.
The toss to Perkins, and Perkins isn't going to get outside. Lyles made sure of that.
Well, excellent pursuit inside out. Kelly Rush, the big left defensive end that time, flowing down the line, using his hands, warding off the offensive lineman, following Perkins out to the sideline, getting some help from Lyles on the keeping the corner right there. But you're not going to be able to run wide on this Winnipeg defense. If you're going to hit it, you got to hit it in between the tackles.
I think you're exactly right, James, in the sense you got to spread this thing out and try to hit it, break at the line of scrimmage if you can, and try to get a pop. Because when you run it wide, you're running right into the strength of this defense, and that's their speed.
7:40 remaining in the half. Torrance pulls it down, throws over the middle. It's intercepted. Jason Jakovich, the safety, pulls it in. It was intended for Yacht.
Exactly what we had spoke about earlier with Torrance throwing the ball. That one looked like it might have had a few feathers on it as it was going down the field. And Jakovich sitting back there playing a great free safety, was able to read it and come in and pick it off. You look at Torrance, he pumps it, brings it back down, but he doesn't have a good grip on the ball, and he takes a hell of a blow as he lets that one go. And Jakovich is right there with a great tip and bring that one in.
Right at the last minute, that's 56. That's Alfred Payton coming in and just letting Bob Torrance know that he's in the neighborhood.
Winnipeg taking over 1st and 10 at midfield. Handoff to Richardson. Richardson loses the football. Ricky Royal has it. The second turnover by the Bombers, a Dunnigan interception and a Michael Richardson fumble. That was one of the knocks on Richardson last year, early in the season, was that he had a tendency to fumble.
Well, Richardson running behind big Miles Garrell right there, who was pushing out O'Shea along with the fullback Johnstone, and Richardson seemed like he got a hand on the tip of the ball and jarred it loose from him. You got to have a better grip on that if you're the running back.
Wonder what Cal Murphy was thinking.
I'd rather have him thinking, because I sure know he can't say it.
Yeah, it must be tough on Cal being up in the box and not being able to communicate directly with someone when they've made a mistake. Evans steps in front of the throw intended for Burbage, but he was out of bounds.
Well, once again, Torrance is not getting enough velocity.
Before the game, and he had a pin and a pipe almost kind of placed in that knee joint of his. He had a bad problem with it, and he got hit right on that left knee.
Ray Jones, the veteran trainer at the Ticats, going down. This is flipped away by Torrance, and a penalty flag because it was Dave Richardson that the ball was thrown towards. Torrance underhanding it. Desperate maneuver by a quarterback in trouble, and it's going to prove even more costly.
Well, Richardson put his hand up at the last moment and tipped that pass. If he had not put his hand up, they had a running back right in the area of where the pass was going to, so that might cost his team.
Intentional grounding. Hamilton, number 19. Clear down.
Perkins was right in the area where Torrance was trying to get the ball to, but when Richardson put his hand up, the offensive lineman is automatically an ineligible receiver, and he's doing a heck of a job on Kelly Rush at the line of scrimmage, but all of a sudden he wanted to turn into a receiver.
Well, all you linemen wanted to be receivers at certain times in your career, didn't you?
Well, you got a little tired of playing with your hands in the dirt all the time.
Osbaldiston stands back at his own 26-yard line with 6:15 remaining in the half. Winnipeg leading 14-8. The ball bounces back towards the line of scrimmage. Boyko picks it up, and in the process, he trapped at least one Ticat, I believe, inside that 5-yard area.
I think that was Jimmy Yock, number 2, that was inside there.
Only a 28-yard punt, but Winnipeg will have excellent field position.
The good ones for Del Lyles, who's seizing an opportunity at outside linebacker, taking the place of Corrigan Freeman, who fell out of favor after the game in Sacramento. Freeman skipped the charter home. Worse showed up late for practice on Tuesday. Cal Murphy's made it clear that it may not be a one-game slap on the wrists. He says if Lyles impresses, the job could be his to keep. Don, I think Freeman's being made an example of because Murphy's #1 goal when he came back to coaching was to restore discipline to this team.
Well, that was his major concern, and his concern right now will be the penalty flag, and I think it's going to be tossed on Miles Gurrell as he appeared to be holding Ramel Andrews.
He might have been doing a little bit more than holding. That's being very kind to Miles on that play.
Well, Miles is also a 300-pounder.
Well, that's before he gets dressed. And look, he's trying to get inside of Romel's jersey on this play right here.
Holding. Winnipeg, number 66. Repeat first down.
It's great to look at Miles' expression on that play. It's like, hey, you know, it's just another play. I just didn't feel like working too hard on it.
108 games with the Ticats before joining the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And he and Chris Walby certainly provide the Bombers with a couple of bookends on the offensive line. David Williams makes the catch and takes it up to the 50-yard line before being stopped by John Moten.
David does a great job. It's just a quick out pattern, and what he does is Matt Dunnigan has the arm strength to get the ball out to him quickly enough before the defensive back, Eglin, can react to it, and then it's one-on-one situation. And when you get to that point, David Williams has got some quick feet. As a defensive back, you've got to come and break down, and again, make sure that you make the tackle all by yourself. You're out there one-on-one.
Pressure coming, but Dunnigan is able to dump it off, and Chris Johnstone motors his way to about the 25. Greg Eglin finally made the tackle, a 34-yard gain. And that was a fine read by Dunnigan. He saw the pressure coming and reacted to it.
And Johnstone is basically the unsung hero of this offense. He's not that noted for carrying the ball. He does a tremendous job of blocking. But once he got the ball on the screen pattern, he had two offensive linemen, Miles Gurrell and David Black, out in front of him. He took that ball all the way down to the 27-yard line. Johnstone, a great job of running with the football.
1st and 10, Winnipeg. The ball is at the 27. Dunnigan looking for Alford. He's got it down at the 8-yard line.
The difference in the two quarterbacks, Matt Dunnigan and Bob Torrance, thread the needle. Matt Dunnigan dropping back in the pocket, coming over the top with that pass, getting a lot of velocity on that ball. You can see the tight spiral going through two defenders, Gerald Alford right there at the 9-yard line to receive that reception. Bob Torrance needs to take a page out of Matt Dunnigan's book and put some velocity on the football.
1st and goal. Dunnigan looks to the end zone. Boyko got it. A slight delay before the official raised his arms, but Dunnigan fires his second touchdown pass of the game into the hands of Alan Boyko.
Wanting to make sure that Boyko had possession of the ball, working on Kelson, the cornerback, but Matt Dunnigan did a methodical job of moving the ball down the field, working it to his various receivers. That time, Boyko, the recipient of the touchdown.
Well, Boyko's biggest reception of the year, 4 seconds remaining, and a come from behind Winnipeg victory over the Ottawa Roughriders. He's developed into a pretty solid receiver this season for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Troy Westwood converts the Alan Boyko touchdown, and it's now 21-8.
Matt has done such a good job of mixing this up and throwing to all his receivers that he's got this Hamilton defensive secondary completely confused. Boyko does a good job. He's out there one-on-one, and as he makes the curl route coming back, and he brings himself in the route back toward Matt Dunnigan. Matt knows that the best place to throw this ball is low. Boyko does a good job.
The official to see whether or not there was going to be a signal from the official that it was a legal catch.
Well, in those places right there, you do leave it up to the judgment and the judge.
You know, but they've done a tremendous job allowing Matt Dunnigan the time. He hasn't been touched again tonight, just like last week in Sacramento, and that has been the difference in the game.
3:30 the time remaining in the opening half. Winnipeg 21, Hamilton 8. Burbage has to go all the way back to the 2-yard line to haul in the Troy Westwood kickoff. And Burbage does a pretty good job of getting back to the 32-yard line before being dumped by Brendan Rogers. Rogers excels on special teams, and he enjoyed that hit on Burbage.
That's
Scott?
a great thing that you see.
Don, Daryl Sampson's playing this game on an adrenaline high, you might say. Last night, his wife gave birth to their first child, a 1-pound, 3-ounce girl named Octavia, born 2 months premature. But, of course, medical science well-equipped these days to handle premature babies. They've assured Daryl everything's going to be all right. Nonetheless, as you might expect, he was up most of the night, so he is playing this game on adrenaline.
Well, sometimes players come up with some of their best performances when they haven't slept much the night before.
Now, I don't know how to take that.
I wasn't looking at either of you.
I don't know, but James Curry sure perked up over on this side.
2:57 remaining in the half. Winnipeg football fans are concerned has been Matt Dunnigan having an outstanding season at quarterback for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The reason they are in a 21-8 lead at the moment.
Well, on the other hand, Bob Torrance came into this game completing 61% of his passes, where he's only 5 for 15 for 46 yards, 1 interception and 1 TD here in the first half. He's going to have to pick up that on the other side of the completion ratio.
Movement at the line of scrimmage. I think Kelly Rush was offside. This would be a free one for Torrance. The pass intended for Perkins. It's incomplete. He was hit by Lyles the same instant the ball arrived.
And Lyles has been impressive here in the first half of play, stepping in for the departure of one of his other teammates who had to miss this contest. But Lyles, they really have no drop-off whenever they interchange their linebackers.
Offside, Winnipeg number 90. Repeat second down.
Just a quick movement by Kelly Rush. He's trying to get caught in the neutral zone. Again, we started talking about this Winnipeg defense and they're interchanging the linebackers. They come at you from so many ways that the offensive teams, they don't know who they can double team or who they should block. And if they double team one guy, that means somebody else, the linebacker, is going to get a one-on-one block, and they usually take advantage of it and come up with a big sack.
Torrance gets the first down with 2:35 remaining in the half.
Torrance is going to have to find a way to get Earl Winfield more involved in this offense tonight. Coming into the game, he was their leading receiver with 37 receptions. He had 6 in their last outing against Edmonton. The first 3 games they won, Don, he had 20 receptions, and he fell off drastically after that.
It wouldn't surprise me much with the way that the offenses are and the interchange of receivers and stuff to see him go to the inside slot where he may have an opportunity to throw the ball to him a little quicker, but he doesn't have the time now to try to get it to his wideouts.
Well, he attempted to go to his wide-out Burbage with that pass, and it was over his head and was out of bounds.
Torrance showing some of the immaturity there. I guess he's only been in the league for 3 years, and again, to his credit, this is his second start to a point that he's got to go out there and not try to take the big play all the time. This Winnipeg defense is a very veteran defense. They're not going to give it up. They're not going to give the home run ball to him. So they're going to play back there, make him nickel and diamond. So if they're going to give it to you, take it.
Handoff inside to Perkins on the draw play. Perkins continues charging and is going to be close to a first down.
And as you alluded to, Dan, he has to go underneath with his passes. If he puts some motion in his offense, get his receivers moving where he can recognize the coverage. Right now, Winnipeg is able to sit there in that man defense and they can disguise it. He has to get some motion with his receivers so he can pick up what the coverage is.
Well, it's like you said, they come out there, they line up in the set position so the defense knows exactly who they're matching up in the minute the snap is. This is a big third down play.
Torrance will keep. He'll get the first down driving to the midfield stripe. 1:56 remaining in the half. And I think it's important here for the Ticats to get something on the board in addition to the 8 points they have already scored before going to the dressing room.
Well, you're very right about that. It's important as a confidence builder that they possession this ball. They keep this ball for the remaining minute and 50 seconds that are in the game. Again, not put it back into Matt Dunnigan's hand, because what he likes to do in this case is to go for the big play and try to score right before the half, and he's had great success this season doing that.
Burbage makes the catch on the sidelines for another Hamilton first down, taking the ball into the 39-yard line.
Well, Burbage has been working on Smith over there all evening and doing a tremendous job of getting separation. Torrance laid another floater out there. Fortunately enough, he had enough separation from Smith for Burbage to go up and bring that reception in.
Without a doubt, the minute you see this, he keeps throwing that deep wide out all the time to the wide side, and he floats it out there. It's going to go 6 the other way. Those defensive backs are going to bait you into it sooner or later. It's going.
Perkins isn't going anywhere. Kelly Rush and Del Lyles,
Randolph, Lewis, you name them. If they're wearing blue, they were almost there on that play.
The football has a tendency to attract a crowd, and Perkins had the football. He drew a crowd.
But these are plays that are going right into the teeth of the Winnipeg defense. That's their speed, their slow developing counter play.
Ball intended for Perkins. It's intercepted. Greg Battle got back to intercept. He lateraled to Jason Jakovich, but the play had been whistled dead, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, with 1:26 remaining in the half, will get another opportunity. That was a big drop by the middle linebacker, Greg Battle. But, you know, he has played the safety position with Winnipeg, so that is an indication of the speed he possesses.
Tremendously versatile athlete in the sense that he was victimized in Sacramento last week in a one-on-one coverage with Oliphant down there. Mike took advantage of him, scored a couple of big plays and big receptions. And maybe Greg had a little something to do. He's got a fresher pair of legs, and he's got something to prove as far as being able to cover Perkins one-on-one. He did a great job that time.
Dunnigan fakes, throws deep down the sidelines for Williams. It's incomplete. He was being covered by Greg Eaglin as Williams ran out of room on the sidelines and ran into the Hamilton bench.
Well, Williams one-on-one with a stop-and-go route and trying to get that corner up on Eaglin, and Eaglin was able to stay with him stride for stride. But to go back to Bob Torrance to play before, when we had talked about getting too much air under the football, was a perfect example with Battle being able to cover the running back Perkins one-on-one down the sideline and able to recover and make the interception on the play.
Winnipeg 2nd and 10. Ball was at the Winnipeg 9-yard line. Inside toss to Richardson. He stopped right at the 10-yard line. Winnipeg has used that play with some success this year, but the Ticats obviously were prepared for it.
O'Shea right there, the outside linebacker, able to meet that play right in the hole, and he's done a tremendous job leading.
They're obviously disappointed with the interception by Greg Battle, but they will get another chance to add to their 8 points before the half ends. Winfield takes the high bounce at the 53, reverses his field, and is going to lose yardage. Stopped by Lyles and Brendan Rogers. It looked as though Winfield was going to take off to his left, and for some reason he tried to reverse it.
But it looked like to me, and I've never been a punt returner because of two things. I didn't have any speed whatsoever. Again, but that ball bounced on about the 45-yard line. And I thought one of the golden rules about punt return is to get underneath and field that ball as quickly as you can. Obviously, when it hits the turf, it can take as many crazy bounces as you can. Had he had a chance to field the ball on the 45, then make a little bit of a move, he may have got it inside the 40 and maybe within Paul Osbaldiston's field goal range immediately. Now they're starting it again from about the Winnipeg 53.
but sometimes when you try to go with the play that's called and look like they might have had a wall.
And from the 40 to the 50, he's only been good on 1 of 4 attempts. So unless they can get it down to about the 35-yard line, this may be almost at the extent of Osbaldiston's kicking ability, and this is going to take them even further out as Alfred Payton gets the quarterback sack and celebrates for the 8th time this season.
Alfred Payton having a great first half, but again, I think even James Curry would make a good sack like that. I may even be able to make a tackle. All he does is come right inside. Perkins doesn't try to block him at all. He steps outside, allows Payton to make that move. He gets a free shot at Torrance, and Torrance has no foot speed to be able to get away from that.
Pass is complete, but Smith gave Burbage no opportunity to run after making the catch.
So that's what you want to do in a situation like that. Allow them to catch the ball in front of you. You don't want them to get behind you. It cost Toronto a couple of nights ago when they let Stephon Page get behind the coverage. Stephon Jones get behind the coverage, and it cost them a game in the waning seconds of the ball game. And that was a great play that time by Smith, allowing Burbage to catch the ball, give him the cushion because he needs to pick up 18 yards to get the first down. Caught a 6-yard pass, brought him down right at that point.
And with 49 seconds remaining in the half, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers calling a timeout. There's Urban Bowman. Head coaching responsibilities, although the preseason injury has forced him to do his coaching from the press box. Boyko is stopped at the 39-yard line with 42
waning seconds of the first half and pick up a score after Sacramento had driven down the length of the field to put up a major of their own.
Well, it's very important to this Hamilton defense. Obviously, they got to get into a 4-deep zone or some kind of really soft 3-deep zone, allow the pass to be thrown in front of them, and then just make the tackle. Not to try to get in a one-on-one foot speed in a race with this Winnipeg team, or they'll lose.
Dunnigan is in a race with O'Shea, and Dunnigan goes out of bounds, sliding into the Hamilton bench, and he should have a first down.
Matt was practicing that base stealing that he had when he had the tryout with the Montreal Expos that time. He figured he could be able to get in there, pick up a base steal.
Well, this is a situation where Matt tries to take a lot into his own hands. And, you know, he's been so susceptible to muscle pulls and everything else in the past. And this is what you don't like to see him doing, running the ball late in the second quarter like this, because this is where you get that hamstring pull or quadricep pull sliding into the bench in a situation like that.
First and 10, Winnipeg. The ball is at the 50. 35 seconds remaining. Little swing pass to Richardson. Richardson has to cut back. And Richardson is going to lose about a yard. Good coverage over on the far side, preventing Richardson from getting to the corner.
Romel Andrews did an excellent job of reading that. That's a swing pass and actually a swing screen because they're getting Walby and Black out in front of him. But Andrews does a great job of getting out there, taking on the pass and making him cut back inside to the pursuit, nullifying that to no gain.
On second down, Dunnigan throws to the sidelines to Williams, but this one will probably be called back by a holding infraction.
One of those plays that really hurts you, and those offensive linemen, they say, you know, the ref didn't have to throw the flag. It's only holding, though, but if you get caught, and that's one of those situations where it looked like they might have gotten caught with their hand in the cookie jar on someone's jersey.
Holding. 25. Winnipeg 25. Repeat second down.
Wasn't even an offensive lineman, a running back.
Chris Johnstone was called for holding with 14 seconds remaining in the half.
Just coming to the right of your screen, this Chris Johnstone is matched up one-on-one against Cofield. Cofield, noted for his speed and his outside rush, is able to get around Chris, and Chris did grab the clock, as James alluded to earlier.
Dunnigan forced to pull it down. He loses the football. It's still free. Hamilton has it with 4 seconds remaining. David Bailey picked it up, and with 4 seconds remaining, The Ticats are going to send out their field goal unit. Well, I said earlier they had to get to about the 35-yard line to try a field goal. I don't think they anticipated getting there in this fashion.
An example of Matt trying to do just a little bit too much at the end of that run. He pulled the ball down, trying to avoid the rush. His heart grabs him. Then he tries to lateral the ball out, and that ball is clearly a fumble, and Bailey's able to pick it up and move the ball right into the middle of the field and gives Hamilton an excellent opportunity at a field goal attempt.
You got to question something, too. Just with Matt that time, the guy that he was going to lateral it to was David Black, the offensive right guard on that. Maybe Black's been doing a few things in practice as far as carrying the mail, but I don't think that was a smart play for Matt.
There are two Bombers in the end zone, Cameron and Westwood, in the event that this kick should go wide, and I'm sure they'll be kicking it out. Well, he doesn't have to kick it out. Westwood has enough room simply to step out across the goal line and ground the ball at the 1 to end the half. Winnipeg leading 21-8. Scott?
Don, the salute to the First Nations will be the focus on the field at halftime, and we'll focus on the profound contribution of a Cree quarterback to the Bombers as we invite you to stay tuned for Live at the Half. It was no longer big enough, and so in 1953, the Bombers moved to Winnipeg Stadium.
They were in Osborne Stadium down
1950. The Mud Bulls become legendary. The Bombers could...
For the Winnipeg Blue Bombers would certainly give them a stranglehold in the battle for first place in the Eastern Division. Alan Boyko starts out from the 5-yard line on the kickoff return. And Boyko, who scored a first-half touchdown, is stopped at the 32-yard line after a run back of 27.
Good field position for Matt Dunnigan to start with. And as I just noticed back there, we were talking about Greg Battle at a halftime. He was the second deep guy with Boyko in the backfield, trying to receive the kickoff. So it just shows you what kind of incredible athlete he is, not only to the fact that Boyko makes the reception on that, but again, you've got a guy to lead you down the field like Greg Battle.
Bellamy was the man that Dunnigan was looking for quickly. He saw Bobby Dawson drop off, and he tried to hit him quickly. And Dunnigan has used all of his receivers. He's spread the ball around well through the first 30 minutes.
As long as Matt's spreading the ball like that, again, it opens up the running game. It opens up his scrambling game. Winnipeg is 4-0 every time they rush the ball 20 times or more. And again, that would be a great relief for Richardson to be able to get the ball at least 20 times this game.
Dunnigan throwing deep, incomplete. Not quite sure who he was looking for. I think he was throwing that one out of desperation.
Well, Hamilton had an excellent push right up the middle of the field. They were able to contain Dunnigan within the pocket, and it's very important for them to get off to a good start here at the start of the third quarter. This is the only quarter that they've outscored an opponent during the season so far, so maybe they can get a good start with Bob Torrance here after they get the reception of the football.
And they have to be concerned about another statistic, and that is that Winnipeg's most explosive quarter in the season has been the fourth. Cameron stands back at his 18-yard line. Earl Winfield takes it at the 35, and Winfield isn't going to go any further than the 37, as Brendan Rogers was, again, the first man downfield, limiting the return to just 2 yards.
It's almost a given every time that Winnipeg punts the football that you're going to call Brendan Rogers' name. He works so hard on these specialty teams to get downfield because for him, this is his starting position, and he wants to make every play when he's out on the field.
Bob Torrance will have to improve those numbers in the second half if the Ticats are going to put an end to this 5-game losing skid. First and 10, Hamilton. They are at their own 38-yard line. Perkins takes the handoff, and running inside against Winnipeg's defense is very difficult tonight.
Running that counter trap with all that speed that they have, the linebacker position, it's an uphill battle.
Burbidge has been the favorite target of quarterback Bob Torrance, and also hauled in the only touchdown toss, not only of this game, but of his CFL career for Bob Torrance.
Well, Winfield, we spoke about him with just one lone reception in the first half. He has to be more involved in this offense.
Well, that's why there's 8 points on the board. As long as if you're only competing 7 passes in 30 minutes to play, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Almost intercepted again by Bobby Evans. a misread by someone, either Mazzoli, the intended receiver, or the quarterback Torrance, because Evans had the best shot at that football.
Well, you had Mazzoli running a seam route, and right at the last moment, he broke that to the up. He saw the safety coming across. Torrance had already committed his throw and threw it right in through Evans' hands, and very fortunately, Evan was not able to retain possession of that.
This team so far this year has had a really hard time of running plays that are drawn up properly on the paper as opposed to trying to run plays that are ad-libbed in the dirt. And it's going to make it really tough to try to score some points if they continue doing it that undisciplined.
Osbaldiston's third down punt. Alfred Jackson returns the ball to the 44. Cal Murphy was talking about Jackson yesterday. He's the DI for this game. They call him Action Jackson. He can play a variety of positions, offensively or defensively. He returns kicks, and Cal likes the speed, the determination, and the overall ability of this young man.
Said he could most likely be the best athlete that he's ever had here in Winnipeg, because he talks around practice to other players as Jackson is out working during practice sessions, trying to get them a little on edge because he does so many things so well.
First and 10 Winnipeg from the 44. Handoff to Richardson. Richardson spins his way for a gain of about 4 before being stopped by Roy Hart. Although Richardson hasn't been as explosive in this game as he has in previous games in his career against Hamilton, Matt Dunnigan was saying it's a relief to have a guy like Richardson because you know you don't have to pass for 500 yards to win a game.
Well, it takes the pressure off of you, especially if a team starts to blitz and you have Richardson. Dan alluded to him earlier with the slip screen out on the side, a little swing screen, and also with those counters and draws. He can make some quick hitters go a long way.
Hand off to Richardson on second down. Richardson trying to get outside, and he should have the first down. There's a penalty flag in the play, and what is Matt Dunnigan doing over there trying to throw a block?
Hey, Matt Dunnigan is a quarterback that has the mentality and the enthusiasm.
Major foul, face mask, Hamilton number 55, first down.
Of a linebacker. He's got that weight, that extra weight on him this year. He's got some extra big inches on his biceps, and he wants to get out there and hit somebody, get involved with this thing rather than just throwing the ball all the time.
So in other words, you're saying we could call him a junior Dan Kemper?
I tell you, if I was that big and still, I could probably still be playing.
Well, I think Cal Murphy may be sending a message on the phone from the press box to Matt Dunnigan. We don't need you out there blocking.
It's either that or Lloyd's of London with that insurance policy saying we're not going to cover it.
David Williams was the man that Dunnigan was looking for. Ricky Royal knocked it away.
Well, Matt this time feels a little bit of pressure on his rollout. Cofield has finally gotten upfield for once, and he was able to apply some pressure just as Matt was delivering that pass and drives him down to the turf where Matt doesn't like to spend too much time.
That's the hard thing about Matt Dunnigan a lot of times. He is so mobile back there that some of those blockers do not know where he's setting up. Again, on the other side of the ball, Bob Torrance, you have a good idea. He's between the tackles every time the ball snaps.
Dunnigan throws it inside to Johnstone, and the screen will produce a gain of about 7.
Well, that's a good little counter play. You got Matt with the half roll. You got Johnstone setting up behind the tackle with the initial block, letting the lineman come off of him, and he's set up right there for the screen play, and he cuts that back against the pursuit.
Matt does a great job, as you just said, of setting up those plays that you've seen the sprint out. You've seen the sprint out roll and throw the ball. You've seen the sprint out with the counter trap coming back. Now he sets this up where he sprints out to the tackle and then dumps it off.
John Gregory is concerned about a fake field goal attempt. But Westwood is going to kick it and put it through the uprights for a 24-8 Winnipeg lead. A 39-yard field goal of a Matt Dunnigan throw. Hamilton came back. Burbage scoring, taking a toss from Bob Torrance, but Winnipeg quickly regained the lead. Richardson putting it in the end zone. Then a toss from Dunnigan to Boyko. Made it 21-8 at the half. The field goal by Westwood has Winnipeg in front 24-8. And the kickoff return has Lee Knight down at the 37-yard line. He's wearing a big cast on his left hand. And it's surprising that he was able to handle the football on the kickoff return as he did.
Well, a line drive kick that came right to him. He couldn't get out of the way, and as he picked it up, he tried the lateral, but he thought the better of it since he had the cast on the hand. Maybe it would not be able to come out freely, and tried to return it. Not a bad return at the 38-yard line, though, for Hamilton.
I thought John Gregory had a great line yesterday when he was talking about injuries. He said, we have had so many in our club and so many x-rays, but we turn off the lights in the dressing room, and it still lights up.
A lot of radiation flowing around in there, he feels.
He may be just getting prepared in case the electricity's cut off. That's the only thing that may happen with John Gregory.
Good point, Dan. Although Larry Rickman in his conversation at halftime assured Scott that the Ticats will be a viable operation for the balance of the year, and I'm sure that comes as a relief to John Gregory, because he said it's the major topic of conversation every single day.
Well, a relief for the entire league also, Don.
2nd and 3, and Perkins will get the first down.
When you're on a 5-game losing skid, I don't think the financial woes of your team is something that you want to be concerned about when you're going to practice every day. These players have had enough on their minds and enough problems trying to get points on the scoreboard, not worrying about the dollars in the financial end of the business.
Well, you guys never had to worry about that during your playing careers, but I'm sure it's in the thoughts of all the players wearing the uniform of the Hamilton Ticats. Paul Bushy struggles for about 5. 24,475 watching action tonight at Winnipeg Stadium.
What Torrance has to do with this situation that he's setting up now, he's run a couple of quick hitters right up in the middle here, and you'll see whether Winnipeg has moved up closer to the line of scrimmage. This is where he want to find if he can hit his hot routes that day, and it could be a big play for him.
When he comes up, he gets the quick reads. As you said, it's got to make that defense respect the run a little bit more. Other than that, they can just sit back and play pass or play blitz.
Bruce Perkins has a big hole, and Perkins gets to the 42-yard line. Perkins had a 100-yard rushing game against Edmonton on Wednesday in a losing effort.
Well, you see Winnipeg coming with the blitz. You see Battle and Randolph with the counter to the right side, and Perkins came back with the counter trap coming off the right side of the offensive line of Hamilton, able to pick up good yardage and another first down on this drive. This is what Hamilton needs to do, maintain possession of the football.
As I said earlier, he's 6'3", 230 out of Arizona State. He's got great speed.
It's Perkins again, surrounded by players wearing blue and gold, and Paul Randolph made contact with him, stopping him after a gain of 2.
I was reading the media guide on him a bit. They call him Bruce Perkins, but his real name is Paul Carey, and they say Bruce is his nickname. Now, go with me, but I've never heard of a new nickname like Bruce, but that's okay. That's okay.
Maybe. No
offense to anybody named Bruce, but if you're going to, I mean, you would take like Danger, Mad Dog, the Master Blaster, but I'm going to come in with Bruce? Unless it's Bruce Lee, I'm not that worried about it, I don't think.
The pass was intended for Bruce. 7:01 remaining.
As I
in the
said,
third quarter.
Don't write. There's no reflection on anybody named Bruce out there.
Yeah,
I promise you.
I saw some guys heading down towards the exit waiting on you when the game's over.
I can tell you, your big shoulders are coming down with me as my bodyguard there.
Paul Osbaldiston will be attempting a 42-yard field goal. 47 yards. Let's correct that. He's got the length, and he's accurate as well with 6:43 remaining in the third quarter. Taylor Field in Regina, McMahon Stadium in Calgary. James Curry and I will be in Ottawa and Hamilton for a pair of games. And Chris Johnstone takes the ball up to the midfield stripe. And right now, let's go down to the sidelines and Scott.
Don, Phil Fontaine is the Grand Chief of the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. Phil, tell me about your efforts to have Winnipeg Stadium renamed in honor of Jack Jacobs.
Well, we believe it would be appropriate to rename the stadium in honor of someone that made an incredible contribution to bringing Winnipeg football into the big leagues.
Just hang on for 1 second. I'm going to throw it back to Don, and we'll get back to you in a sec. Don?
All right, Matt Dunnigan completes the pass to Gerald Alphen, and he's out of bounds with a gain of about 8. Scott?
Okay, Don. Well, Phil, I don't think anyone would argue the appropriateness of it, but could I suggest to you that this issue need not be argued on the basis of race? Merit alone would be enough for the stadium to be renamed in Jacob's honor, given what he did for the Bombers.
Well, his story is one of excellence on the field, and I don't think people would argue too strongly about our efforts to rename this in honor of his memory. And we've started a letter writing campaign. We're going to be circulating a petition, and we'll be dealing directly with the Winnipeg Enterprises to change.
Quickly, your people would consider him a role model, I take it.
A positive role model, and we desperately need role models.
All right, Phil, thanks for your time. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Don?
Yes, Winnipeg Stadium is where the Bombers are playing right now, and there have been many people who have suggested in the past that stadiums throughout the country be named after some of the prominent people involved. Frank Clare had the stadium in Ottawa named after him, for example.
Well, it's quite an honor and recognition for when they go back to some of the early pioneers of the CFL and bring that recognition back in a memorial such as naming a stadium. That's something that will live on forever within the CFL.
Well, had it not been for the sacrifice and the contribution that these gentlemen made, guys like James and myself would have never had any place to play or anywhere to go. So it was, we thank them very much.
Let's see, Kepley Stadium? No, Commonwealth is a better sideline pass, and Action Jackson. Alfred Jackson makes the catch.
Now, there's the name. Now you got it. Action Jackson. They make movies about guys like that.
Well, Jackson is that multi-versatile player who Winnipeg doesn't have any problems in putting on offense or defense. That time running a nice out route with Matt Dunnigan, finding him out in the left flats, getting the feet in just as he brought in the reception. Close to the first down, going to be second and short.
I do have to say that Waddell Smith, the wide receiver with the Eskimos, gave me a name. He said, "You are the master blaster." So.
Richardson looking for a first down. He's going to have a tough time getting there. John Moten came over and got some help from Ricky Royal.
Remnants of another 42 of the pass flowing from sideline to sideline. Moten did an excellent job playing that inside out as a middle linebacker should do, scraping off as he went down the line of scrimmage, able to meet Richardson right before he was able to get his shoulder squared up and drive him to the turf short of the first down.
Again, Moten, one of the big highlights for this Hamilton defense. Played extremely well, and he's the kind of guy, he comes every play 100% of the time, so he leaves nothing in the locker room.
Third down gamble for Winnipeg. 3rd and 1. Dunnigan will keep. He just followed the surge of his center, Dave Anconit, and the two guards,
David
Brett
Black.
McNeil and David Black.
Black did an excellent job of getting that push right there, and Matt just fell right off his hip and getting that 2 yards that he needed for the first down. But what Winnipeg is doing right now is controlling the clock. Hamilton needs desperately to get their hands back on the football.
1st and 10 Winnipeg, the ball at the 34 of the Ticats. Dunnigan was looking for Williams. He had position on Lonnie Finch. Wright was coming on a blitz. Winnipeg was able to pick it up.
Well, a better thrown football than David Williams might have been able to bring that one in. That one looked like it might have had some feathers on it as it came out of Matt's hand. It was fluttering quite a bit. It looked like a skeet shooting contest almost.
But to Matt's credit, and all that, his first year in the league, he did come and was taught by Tom Wilkinson of the Edmonton Eskimos. Tom always threw that option pass again, where he said you had the option to catch it at either end.
Well, Tom was throwing some spitters also.
Dunnigan is going to try and run for a first down, and he'll get it. Boy, he wisely went down just in front of Ricky Royal.
Ricky Royal was head hunting on that play, and I bet Cal Murphy was trying to breathe a sigh of relief.
He's trying, but Matt showed some great experience there, because I can promise you, probably 3 or 4 years ago, Matt would have turned up and took this shot head on to see if he could get the best of that defensive back.
And defensive players love it when they see a guy on the offense trying to challenge them. And Ricky Royal, you could see he was not looking for Matt's jersey. He was looking for shoulder pads and up.
Well, you always said quarterbacks were free game.
Hey, he was standing there.
Yeah, but he was on the sideline when you hit him some of those times.
Inside handoff, and Richardson has a gain of 8.
right now you can see the effects of this drive on that Hamilton defense. You have defenders getting up off the ground very slowly. Richardson with just a straight dive right up the middle. The surge of that big Winnipeg offensive line. David Black doing a tremendous job along with Chris Johnstone right there.
This is a tired Hamilton team. I mean, they're on the tail end of the road trip from hell. So you can guarantee as this game progresses, those legs were heavy coming into the game. They're getting heavier now.
Richardson again. He's got a first down inside the 10-yard line. Hamilton is the last team in the CFL to play the doubleheader. They made the trip out west. Edmonton Wednesday, Winnipeg Saturday.
Well, Richardson again coming with that inside counter. That lead, he heads out towards the left tackle, cuts back in the middle, and a big gaping hole by the center of that Winnipeg offensive line. He picks up positive yardage again inside the 10 in the red zone. This is where Winnipeg has been very dangerous all year.
Winnipeg first and goal. Dunnigan sends Williams wide to the left. Jackson to the right. Dunnigan looks to the right for Alphen, and it's knocked away. That was a floater, and Henning got over to cause Alphen some problems, but Dunnigan didn't have a lot of zip on that pass.
Dunnigan was looking downfield. I think he wanted to throw the ball deep into the end zone to David Williams or to Action Jackson in that case. But at the last minute, I think he came and he threw the ball off balance. And then again, it got a lot of air on it, and it was turning end over end by the time it got to Alphen.
Winging it sidearm. Generally, when Matt comes over the top, he has a lot of zip on it. That time he was off balance, as you stated, Dan, throwing his sidearm, and it just flooded out to Alphen.
Same formation. Williams left. Jackson to the right. Out of the shotgun. Cofield pursuing Dunnigan. Dunnigan dumps it off to Richardson. He slips. And you saw water fly as Richardson went down. This artificial turf at Winnipeg Stadium has been saturated over the past week by heavy rains.
Matt gets the setup. I think he really likes it. He's got 4 receivers to the wide side of the field, his right side. Then he gets David Williams one-on-one to the backside. Good coverage in there by Kelson. But then that allows Matt Dunnigan to have to come back and scramble. But to their credit, the Hamilton defense stuck with all of the receivers downfield. That is the prime goal of what you have to do once the quarterback starts to scramble. Lock up with the man you're covering, and then have the containment have to come up and try to get Matt Dunnigan down on the ground. After he threw the ball, that was a good play by the Hamilton defense.
I think they're going to replace the football because it is wet. That is a wet area of the field. They've done a pretty good job at Winnipeg Stadium of removing much of the moisture that had accumulated in the artificial turf.
But that was a great recovery job also by Tim Cofield, not losing the contain, forcing Matt to throw the ball to Richardson.
16-yard field goal attempt by Troy Westwood. This should be a chip shot, and it is. 1:03 is the time remaining in the
standings. The race is the Molson Vancouver Indy, and we'll have it for you.
Yes, a busy weekend on CBC television. And at the moment, the Ticats are attempting to battle back in this clash with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as Burbage takes the kickoff up the right side, finds some room, and then is knocked out of bounds by Jackson. James, you talked about the clock being the enemy of the Hamilton Ticats. Winnipeg kicked a field goal, but in the drive, they took 5 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock, and Hamilton desperately needs the football in their possession.
They cannot allow Winnipeg to maintain possession and sustain drives like that. That's where the running game was so important for Winnipeg on that drive. Running the clock off, making it their alibi, leading by 16 with 46 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Right now, Bob Torrance has to be the man and take control of this game.
He's got good field position. The ball is on the Winnipeg side of the midfield stripe. 1st and 10 from the 54. Intercepted. Kim Phillips stepped in front of Perkins, and that could be a big costly blow for Hamilton.
Once again, the lack of experience by Bob Torrance, throwing the ball off his back heel as he's leaving the ground. You have to be able to get something on the ball, and he is just not doing that, Dan.
Well, he's certainly, and this is a play. It hasn't been there the previous 3 quarters, so why should it be there right then? Again, you got to come out there, and it's a possession-type offense that you need to do. Establish, make some first downs, and at least build up some confidence that you're going to be able to do something against this Winnipeg defense. That case, you go off even more disappointed than you came on, in pretty good field position.
Richardson following David Black, cuts back inside of Black, and will get about 4 yards, maybe 5.
And this Hamilton's defense is showing the signs of fatigue still. But the frustration you spoke about, Dan, I mean, you get the ball in great field position, and you come out one play and you're back on the field again defensively. It wears on you emotionally and physically.
Well, it takes the time. You know, you work in this thing as a team. Some days there's going to be when the offense are having bad days and the defense has to get the ball back to them as many times as they can to sooner or later make something happen. But when you do get the ball back to them, do something smart with it.
Richardson gets a first down on what should be the final play of the third quarter. So with 15 minutes remaining at Winnipeg Stadium, the Blue Bombers enjoy a 16-point edge. Welcome David Black, a product of Wilfrid Laurier, limps off to the sidelines. He was trying to block for Richardson on the final play of the third quarter. He's replaced by Quincy Magnuson. Draw play with Richardson. And Richardson gets up across the 51-yard line. I think Winnipeg in this fourth quarter will be quite content to keep the ball on the ground as much as possible. Statistically, the Bombers have a huge edge, 320 net yards to 97 for the Ticats.
And the other real big discrepancy there is in the time factor. You can see 26 minutes as opposed to 18 minutes.
And a lot of that, Dan, comes from that 120 yards on the ground that Winnipeg has been able to accumulate.
The Bombers stay in the ground with Richardson. Matt head on in the hole by John Moten. That was a punishing hit.
That's the way a middle linebacker is supposed to play the game. He steps up into the hole and he rocks whatever comes in there. And you can bet that Richardson knows who hit him.
Makes my heart flutter to see a guy do that, and just great.
Particularly one who wears 42.
Steps up in the hole, and just great technique. You see, he squats down with those quads. He gets that butt low to the ground, and then he explodes with those shoulder pads up underneath the shoulder pads of Michael Richardson, and that sends that momentum straight up, or in this case, straight back.
And that's the way football is meant to be played. I mean, reckless abandon. Moten stepped right into the hole, delivered the blow, and as a defender, he's driving the offensive player backwards.
It's very coincidental that I was watching a talk show last night with Pat Riley, the head coach of the New York Knicks, and he was talking about, because he is a Shawnee Indian, and he was talking about warriors, and he was talking about warriors are guys that take nothing from the tribe, and they are makers of their own destiny, their own future. And we're seeing a lot of warriors out there today.
Dunnigan on third down, and one keeps and should have the first down as he gets up to the midfield stripe. You know, last year after the Bombers acquired Matt Dunnigan by making him the huge offer and luring him away from Toronto, there were people who were questioning the wisdom of Cal Murphy in making such a move, but I don't think there are as many detractors this year.
Well, you need a leader when you're having a football team. You need that quarterback that players can count on, and Matt has been that player this season.
And David Williams is a man that Dunnigan has hooked up with most often during the course of this season. They were teammates, of course, previously in BC and Toronto. And David Williams' career has been rejuvenated, being reunited with Matt.
Well, you can bet that Matt Dunnigan probably had a lot of say-so into getting David Williams over here in Winnipeg. But again, as much as Winnipeg needed Matt Dunnigan to stay healthy and have a good season, Matt Dunnigan needed Matt Dunnigan for his own confidence. And when he's got confidence, this is the kind of ball that he can play.
Wright caught Richardson in the backfield, dropping him for a loss. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be forced to kick it away with 12:28 remaining in the ball game.
You know, yesterday Coach Gregory spoke about his young quarterback Torrance, about he would not play musical chairs with the quarterbacks, but how long can you stick with the young man when he's struggling? Is it developing confidence for him, or is it destroying confidence? He has had trouble all night figuring out this Winnipeg defensive coverage and pass rush. Do you want to give another quarterback a look late in the game here?
Exactly. How are you supposed to get your second-string quarterback any playing time or any confidence if you don't get him in the ball game? You're right, James.
Winfield handles the third down punt and is surrounded immediately. 12:09 remains with the Ticats back.
To the point now where the business leaders of Hamilton have to come up to the plate, and the fans have to decide, do they want a team in Hamilton?
We'll get back to you in a second, Larry. Don?
Well, with Perkins carrying the ball up to the 14-yard line, that relieves some of the pressure. I'm sure the fans will be back in Hamilton, though, on the weekend, Scott, for the Labor Day battle with Toronto.
I'm sure they will too, Don. And Larry, I'd ask you what Saskatchewan represents. The renaissance, at least for one night of football there last night when they had a record crowd of 33,000 at Taylor Field.
Well, Scott, it's just a start. We went over their 5-year plan. They're going to be there. They want to be part of expansion in the CFL.
Thanks for your time, Larry. Don, back to you.
2nd and 4, Hamilton. Perkins is out across the 15-yard line, tackled by Del Lyles. This one may require a measurement.
Well, it looks like he's coming up a little bit short, Don, but this is a situation where they need to be able to control the football. You'll see Perkins coming with his cutback, and Lyles is coming off inside of Mazzoli. Mazzoli not able to keep contact, and Lyles makes a play.
There's where you get the big mismatch. You get a guy like Lyles trying to go against Mazzoli. Mazzoli just can't handle the strength and the quickness of Lyles.
And it's going to be big decision time right now for John Gregory. I mean, you have the ball down inside the 20-yard line. You got 3rd and very short. Are you going to punt this? Your football teams need to maintain possession of the football. You're down by 16 points with 11 minutes to go in the game, Don. What do you do?
I think yard at the line of scrimmage, you should be able to make.
You should be able to give it. If Torrance gets down behind those massive offensive linemen, gets between a seam, he should be able to pick that up. But it's decision time for him also. He's going to have to go vertical. It's nice to run the ball and grind it out, but you're down with 11 minutes to go. You need some point production.
His center, Dale Sanderson, there, he's 6'4", 285. I think he'd have a real good chance of making this. Go big or go home, I guess.
11:02 remaining in the football game. 27-11. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers lead Hamilton. And the Ticats are going after it. Winnipeg stacks up the middle in anticipation of Torrance carrying. Torrance does carry, but gets the first down.
Get that chin down low. Don't put it up high where those linebackers coming up over top can take a shot at it.
Yeah, he'll be looking at the doctor trying to say, how many stitches do I need?
And can you put these teeth back in?
Torrance trails Matt Dunnigan badly in yards in this football game. Perkins trying to get outside, and Perkins is going to be stopped after a gain of about 7. 9:57 remaining in the game.
Torrance right now is eating up the clock, and I don't know if he understands that he's behind in the game with less than 10 minutes to go right now, but Perkins running from sideline to sideline is going to look good on him statistically at the end of the contest, but Torrance needs to put some points on the scoreboard.
Second and 4, Hamilton. Winfield comes wide right. Kim Phillips has done a pretty good job lining up against Winfield, and they haven't been able to go to him that much, and they're going to be stopped short of a first down.
This could be about 1.5 yards short here. This will make the decision a little tougher for Coach Gregory.
Well, you spoke about Phillips doing a great job on Winfield. They've taken Winfield completely out of the contest tonight. He had the one long reception in the first quarter, and he has not seen the ball other than specialty team play other than that in the contest, and it has really hurt their offense. It's taken the biggest dimension of their offense away tonight.
Osbaldiston forced to punt. Third and 2. Would they dare fake it in this situation? Osbaldiston is going to kick it away. Boyko takes it at the 49. Boyko did a wise thing there. He stayed in bounds. 8:52 the time. 5,000 watching the action tonight at Winnipeg Stadium, and most of them enjoying what they. Dunnigan over the middle, and Alpha makes the catch. Ricky Royal thought he had an interception.
Alfin just running a straight seam route that time, came straight down the middle of the field. Dunnigan with a half roll out to the left, getting protection from McNeil as offensive guard as he pulled out to run convoy in front of him. Throws backside to Alfin that time. Alfin goes up, McNeil goes right through his hands. Alfin with great concentration able to pull that one in for the reception.
6'3", 210 pounds, and Alfin simply outmuscled Ricky Royal for the football. Dunnigan rolling right, being pursued by Cofield, It complete and fumbled and picked up by O'Shea. So the Ticats get it back with 7:48 remaining in the game.
Couple of shots on the sideline on that fumble cover. As he comes back, he sprints out, he hits David Williams inside on the curl route. Good strip of the ball, and Michael Shea's the man right on the spot, makes a good return. But here's what happens after the ball's fumbled.
You got Cofield, a defensive lineman, becomes a blocker all of a sudden, but he's being manhandled by the quarterback, Matt Dunnigan, who slams him to the turf.
That's as close as he's come to Dunnigan all night long.
Evans intercepts a pass intended for Mazzoli. The Blue Bombers get it right back.
Torrance back on his heels once again, Dan. He is not getting any zip on the ball. Evans with a great read coming from his halfback position across the middle.
Well, and it's kind of like, didn't he learn from the last time that he came out? The first play he comes, he tries to take it deep downtown. He has the ball picked off. Now he comes back the same play. This Winnipeg defense is not going to give you the ball, the home run ball downtown. Take care of it, be able to run it again, but you're going to have to dump it, throw something over the middle.
Well, they had been baiting him and playing kind of soft. There was a perfect example of it. The ball flooded. Everson had to make a great jump on it.
Little toss inside to Richardson, and Richardson is stopped by Moten after a pickup of about 3. Moten almost seems to be keying on Richardson. Is that the responsibility of the middle linebacker?
Well, right now he's in that spy technique in the middle linebacker position. And Dan, you played in that position for many years, and you could exemplify on that a little more.
Well, it's a little bit where all of a sudden Richardson's coming out, and he's a very key blocker. So a lot of the time, maybe 90% of the time, he's going to take you to where Matt Dunnigan's going to go. So if you're in a blitzing situation or you're in a contained situation, he's going to give away the side that Matt Dunnigan's going to come to.
Pass was behind David Williams with 6:42 remaining in the game. You know, it's interesting. Despite the turnovers in tonight's ball game, neither side has scored any points as a result of those turnovers.
Well, Hamilton has to feel very fortunate of that because they've given up the ball on numerous occasions tonight, and Bob Torrance is struggling right now. His confidence has been really shaken the past couple of possessions. He's given up the ball really without giving his team a chance to score.
But it still comes back, and you made a point earlier. Why don't we see Don McPherson in there at least having an opportunity to run some of this offense in the second half?
Winfield in the end zone draws a no yards penalty. Bobby Evans was in too close. Winnipeg on the third down punt, but Hamilton chose to decline the penalty to improve field position. They are taking the ball at the 35-yard line. Torrance remains at quarterback. Throws to the sidelines for Winfield. He was covered by Kim Phillips. Well, you two have talked about a Hamilton quarterbacking situation and expressed some concern as to whether or not there might be a quarterbacking change.
Well, in the past, McPherson had been a great quarterback coming off the bench, sitting back, observing what the defenses have done in the past year. And now he sat back and he saw what Torrance has not been able to accomplish. Maybe it is time to make a change. You know, they talked about his confidence not destroying that, but where's his confidence right now with the team down 28-11?
You got 37 other guys on that team that are questioning some confidence right now. And maybe, again, they're taking a look at the confidence of their head coach and saying, hey, we need some help out here, and you're not helping us.
You know, and as a head coach, your job is to give your team an opportunity to win. If something is not working, then you go back to the drawing board. If that play is not working, you throw it out. If that quarterback is not working, evaluate what he's doing in the game, and maybe you have someone on the sideline who can do just a little bit more.
Well, at the very least and the very worst, Don McPherson could not do any worse right now.
He couldn't hurt the team by coming into the game at all. Maybe he'd give them a motivational lift at this point, even though the time is very limited. You know, you want to get anything positive that you can offensively.
5:38 remaining. Osbaldiston standing back at the 11 after the sack by Lyles. Jackson on the punt return stop at the midfield stripe. Missing that airplane in Sacramento may prove to be a lot more costly for Corey and Freeman than he realized at the time, because Lyles playing that linebacking position, has done pretty well. Sammy Garza is going to get an opportunity now to play quarterback for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
You know, there's an old rule about, and you talk about Corey and Freeman, once you establish yourself in a position, you be like the old wolf. You go around and you mark all the spots, and you don't let anybody in there, because you may not get back in that territory again if somebody performs well, as Lyles is tonight.
I don't think Matt Dunnigan has to worry too much about his job. No reflection on the play by Sammy Garza, but Garza was coming in simply to give Dunnigan a bit of relief, because I think the Bombers feel pretty confident that this game is locked away.
Well, also Dunnigan had taken some shots here late in the fourth quarter, and he gets into the game and he does some things that Coach Cal Murphy doesn't appreciate by going in, putting a little extra zealous on some plays.
But we talk about job security here, fellas. Let's get it back here. If you marry the head coach's daughter, you're pretty set for a while.
Richardson, the ball carrier. And Richardson gets to the 51-yard line.
So you're trying to say, Dan, that Cal gets his grass cut on the weekends at no charge?
He may get the grass cut and the car washed, but it's no reflection on Sammy Garza as a quarterback. I say he's a quarterback as normally. He's using some great intelligence and being able to pad his bet just a little bit.
Well, that's the key to that position, is great intelligence, and Sammy has shown a little bit of that. But Michael Richardson still running hard late here in the fourth quarter, picking up viable yardage, trying to add to his total as the game continues on.
4:17 remaining. Cameron punting from the 45-yard line. Winfield at the 10. Winfield runs into traffic at the 23. That's where
Larry Thompson, the gunshot victim in a random break-in attempt at his residence in California. That's his story. Still got a bullet in his shoulder, but you got some good news today.
Yeah, I can start running, and the x-ray looked real good, so we'll go within, a couple weeks, or maybe just a week, just to see if when I can start running routes, but we're going to start running straight ahead and then go from there.
Your career, Larry, was in serious jeopardy when you came to camp this year. They weren't sure if you'd ever play again. Are you confident now you will?
I was confident from the beginning. I mean, the doctor told me it was just all I needed was for a bone to heal. That's all it was.
Will you get that last bullet out, do you think, sometime?
Probably in the offseason. Probably off-season sometime.
I'm keeping an eye on the play, and we got to throw it back to Don. Don?
All right, Scott. Now Torrance being pursued, and will he get a chance to throw? No, he's taken out of bounds by Alfred Payton.
Torrance's major problem is when he's in the pocket, he is not sure of himself. His feet are constantly moving. As a quarterback, you have to have your feet planted firmly on the ground to be able to deliver. Maybe two quarterbacks in the CFL deliver without planting their feet. That's Doug Flutie and Ken Austin. But we see the numbers that those two wily veterans will put up over the course of a game. And Torrance, with his inexperience, has to set and deliver the football.
A loss of 3. It's 2nd and 13. York was the man that Torrance was looking for, something that Gregory said Torrance would have to do in the game, but he hasn't done with any regularity, is throw that hot pattern.
Well, that's what he needs to be able to do, but that one was behind him. He has to throw it just a step quicker.
But having the confidence not to throw the pass as quickly as he did, it's a point when he comes back, he's got 2 steps, boom, now he's got to release the ball. He's wide open. There's York, he's wide open. Now he takes a little longer, and he throws the ball behind him.
And in throwing that hot route, you have to be able to fire it from the top, not cock the wrist back to throw it. You got to be able to come over the top with that.
Boyko takes the 3rd down punt at the 35-yard line. Boyko brings it back post to midfield with 2:48. Final 2 minutes from now. Garza looking for Williams. Williams had to come back for the ball. It's incomplete. He was being covered by Kelson.
Well, Garza that time held on to it just a step too long. He has to believe that Williams is going to get that separation and let Williams run under the pass. That time Williams had to try to come back for it. But Kelson with one-on-one coverage, Williams had a step on him. Garza just held on to it too long.
Williams lines up wide left. Boyko out to the right. Garza had a lot of injury problems early in the year. Handoff inside to Richardson, and Richardson gets across the 50 to the 49 of Hamilton. "16 carries for 99 yards for Michael Richardson. He had a 100-yard rushing game last week against Sacramento, his first of the year. Last year, Richardson had 5 100-yard rushing games.
Well, with 2:30 to go in this contest, if the defense can step up big once more, he'll get that opportunity to have his second consecutive 100-yard game.
Winfield lets the ball bounce in the end zone. And then he kicks it out the back of the end zone for a single point.
Should have been able to take that ball, receive it. It would have to go out on its own, or he would have had to get possession of it and take a knee to give up the single point.
Jake Ireland calling the officials in. You talk about an old veteran. Bob Cameron knows all the rules.
Hamilton kicked the ball out of bounds in their own goal. Winnipeg first down, 10-yard line.
That's right. Bob Cameron knew what was going on. Watch this. Winfield making a very bad error here. All he had to do was let the ball roll out of bounds, but by kicking it out of bounds, Winnipeg gets the football at the 10.
Bob Cameron's been around for 14 years. He's been around a lot longer than most of these officials, so he is justified and capable of making that call.
And finally, late in the game, Don McPherson is going to get an opportunity possibly to get his first look. He had been warming up on the sideline, but Winnipeg is going to retain possession here.
Winfield thought he was simply conceding a single point. He might be giving up a touchdown. Richardson into the end zone, and he's got his second 100-yard rushing game.
And Don, you were so right on your perception there of giving up a touchdown.
Well, it's a great way to return after an injury. His first game back in Sacramento when he goes over 100 yards, and then he comes back home to a very jubilant crowd, and he goes over 100 yards again, and again, scoring a big touchdown.
Those little mental lapses like Winfield had on kicking the ball out, as you see Richardson taking the handoff, starting inside, making that bounce to the outside, outrunning the coverage towards the corner of the end zone, stepping in for the touchdown. But Winfield with the foolish mistake of kicking the ball through the end zone.
As you mentioned, it is just lack of concentration, but I think that has to do with a lot of the other things that are going on inside the game and outside the game.
Richardson with his second.
Just about Richardson over the past 2 weeks is the fact that he seems to be getting stronger as the game goes longer, and he runs extremely well. Granted to the fact that he's coming against a very tired Hamilton defense, but he just shows some great speed in getting to the corner for that 6 points.
In the league dominated by passing, there have only been 5 100-yard rushing games this season. Burbage on the return, and he's forced out of bounds by Boyko, and there's a penalty flag in the play. Jim York really took a hit as he was attempting to block for Burbage on the return from Lyles. And McPherson is going to come in and play quarterback for the Hamilton Ticats as soon as they sort out the penalty.
Major foul, face mask, Winnipeg number 92, first down.
Here's when you take a look just to the right of your screen. Jimmy York's trying to form the wall, and he's starting from square zero. Lyles is coming down at about 200 miles an hour like a derailed train and just hits him right in the chin and puts him right on his butt.
Well, he probably even felt, Dan, like he ran into a wall and was standing there.
And the reason for the penalty, Chris Sangaris was guilty of a face mask call. Don McPherson from the shotgun. Almost has his first pass attempt picked off by Kim Phillips.
You know, in defense of McPherson, he's been sitting on the sideline for 58 minutes of this game watching, and he coming in almost in a hopeless situation, trailing 35-11. But the difference in his pass right there, it did go a little bit high, the zip on the ball. I mean, and that's what you have to have in the CFL with this huge field. You have to have a quarterback that can zing the ball over the field.
McPherson hasn't thrown a touchdown pass since the 16th of July against Ottawa. Winfield makes the catch. Kim Phillips brings him down.
Excellent play that time. Here's what I like about it. McPherson stood in there, and he took one heck of a shot coming in. And I think it was Payton that gave him the hit. But Winfield's working hard across the middle. They finally get a ball to Winfield.
His first catch since the first quarter.
1:47 remaining. McPherson throws to Burbage, first down at the 17-yard line.
You see McPherson with the arm strength to be able to get the ball out to the deep sideline pattern. As you had Burbage running the deep out, McPherson could get the ball to him.
He couldn't come in at a more perfect situation to try to build his confidence as a quarterback, because also this Winnipeg team, I mean, at 35-11, they're sitting back. They're playing it a lot softer than they normally would play, allowing those passes to be thrown and caught in front of. Then they just make the play and make the tackle.
I think that may have been one of McPherson's problems. He started to lose his confidence. And you could be absolutely right. This could be a big confidence builder for McPherson. He was looking for York in the end zone.
He was throwing the fade, and York was looking for the end route on that play. But also McPherson was filling the rush. But what's more important, that he stays in the pocket with his feet planted. He knows he's going to take a hit from this oncoming rush of the Bombers, but he has to get the ball to his receivers.
The great thing, again, about this young fella is if he does have to come out of the pocket, he certainly has the foot speed to get out and be able to move and elude tackles.
Well, you have to convert second down plays in the CFL, and so far tonight, the Ticats have really had difficulty doing that. This is something else McPherson can do. He can scramble out of there, but his pass is intercepted by Sampson. It was intended for York in the corner of the end zone, but McPherson is more mobile than Bob Torrance.
But also in defense of McPherson on that, York has to come back and help his quarterback out. He spotted York in the corner of the end zone, but York just stayed stationary and allowed Sampson to come in front of him. McPherson rolling out to his right, trying to get away from the pressure. Sampson reading McPherson as he got there. You'll see McPherson getting outside of Kelly Rush. Kelly Rush did not maintain control on the corner, but York not coming back, helping out his quarterback. An easy interception for Sampson.
The only knock I would have against that play right there, I think that he did try to force the ball in there a little bit, because he had about 15 or 20 yards that he could have scrambled and continued this drive and ran and picked up the first down.
Matt Pierce to the 17-yard line, as the Bombers are doing a fair bit of substituting late in the football game.
Well, Michael Richardson is getting a rest here after his second consecutive 100-yard game, and Pierce getting some needed playing time in the backfield as a backup along with Ford at fullback.
Garza to Williams. Kelson caught him almost immediately, but it appears as though he has a first down.
Garza with the quick hitch out to Williams on the left half, and Williams trying to turn that back inside, hoping that Kelson would come up a little too quick and miss that tackle and he could break it off for extra yardage.
We're into the final minute of the football game. Winnipeg, 1st and 10. The ball is at the 22. Rob Crefo also into the ball game for Winnipeg. Matt Pierce with a hole and a gain of about 8 yards. You know, you talked earlier about the problems the Ticats have had offensively. During the stretch of their 6th consecutive loss, the defense has been on the field so much. That defense has been taking a battering during the past 6 games.
Well, they've replaced so many defensive personnel as this season has worn on, and this is one of the reasons for that attrition rate, is the time on the field. The offense has to give them a rest from time to time during the game.
2nd and 4, Winnipeg. Garza's going to throw, similar pattern to Williams. This time, Kelson was ready for it.
Well, Kelson that time jumped around. He knew that Garza was going to throw it out. He wasn't going to take him deep. He was trying to pick up the first down, and he was looking for a pick on that play.
23 seconds remaining in the football game. Boy, this makes it very tough for anybody in the Eastern Division to catch Winnipeg in the race for first place. Hamilton, for example, would have to win 4 more games than Winnipeg over the final 9 games of the season.
And they have a serious uphill battle.
Well, it certainly is, but I think at this point, if you look at the numbers, then you may concede the fact that Winnipeg is the strength in Winnipeg. But the main thing you got to do is find second and third place, at least be in a position to have a playoff game, even if you have to play it on the road.
Jason Jakovich in too close on Earl Winfield. Winfield managed to bounce off a couple of tackles, stay on his feet, and he runs out of room down the sidelines.
Hamilton really doesn't have much of a chance to win any contest, and he's only caught 2 passes tonight. His major damage has been on the specialty teams.
I think John Gregory paid Earl Winfield a very high compliment when he said in practice nobody works harder than Earl Winfield.
Well, it shows on the field. This is a consummate professional. When he's out there, he cares very much about what he's doing for his career.
Well, it's a tough situation. We kind of isolate Winfield here as far as not being involved in this ballgame. But also, there's not anybody else across that board of receiving corps that was very much involved with this ballgame. They didn't have an opportunity to get the ball thrown to him.
But I bet Earl Winfield won't kick another football out of the end zone. Intended for York, incomplete. Again, there appeared to be a mix-up as to the route that York should be running.
Well, with the pressure that McPherson was feeling on that play from Kelly Rush and Alfred Payton, it'll mix up a lot of quarterbacks and receivers because he just didn't have the time to get it off. They know that McPherson's in the game to throw it, and they're going to come after him. They're pinning those ears back right now.
Well, it's been a very tough 6 weeks for the Hamilton Ticats. They go home now to face the Toronto Argonauts on Labor Day. We'll have that game for you on CBC television. Final play of this football game. And McPherson is looking into the end zone for Winfield. Incomplete. Randolph was there. Berry was there to knock it away. So John Gregory, who made his coaching debut with Hamilton against the Toronto Argonauts, now heads home hoping to turn around the fortunes of the Ticats against those same Toronto Argonauts on Labor Day '93.
Well, and they have some good things to go home to in the fact that they're financially going to be set for the remainder of this season. So now let's get rid of that as a reason why we're going to play poorly. The off-field thing.
1986, of course, he missed all of last year because of the heart transplant. He missed the first 9 games, spending those up in the press box because he fractured his hip in a training room accident back at the beginning of July. He's recovered enough now to put the crutches away and be on the sidelines, a place I think he feels most comfortable. Chris?
Mike Anderson is